The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
Welcome to everybody. And hey, it's Wednesday, the 9th day of April, 2025. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. Mel Hartman and Teo Dill will be with us in a bit to bring you this in the news break brought to you by People's. How's everybody feeling today? How's everybody feeling? It's Wednesday. And I'm still in Vegas, and it's really early. Yeah, it's like, hold on, 4:02 a.m. in Vegas. It's dry, folks. You ever showered and then like sweated and feel like you need another shower? Vegas ain't like that. It's like you shower, you lotion, you go out, and then you're wondering like, why do I need more lotion? It's so dry, your lips, everything just, it's so different in Vegas, man. It's so different. It's so different. But yeah, happy Wednesday, hump day, middle of the traditional work week, all the way from Las Vegas to all of you. Everyone's feeling good out there. Let us know how you're feeling. And greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Eduardo Medeiros on. We're going to be discussing his book on Portuguese history in Bermuda. Very interesting. If you've come across one of those articles, you want to check it out. But we're going to have a fun conversation today. The day play is music. Yeah, I don't know. You all got last week. I don't remember what it was, but most of you got it last week. So we'll test your knowledge today. I'm not quite sure you have it in you today. All right. Don't forget to subscribe on our website and follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right, so here we go, folks. Canton Trot says my nose was bleeding every day when I was in bed. It's different, man. It's different. Like yesterday, I'm a touted person, but Keith and Larry been struggling, man. The breathing, it's been a struggle because you're in the middle of the desert. It's dry. It's work out here, man. It's work. So. By the way, question. Has anyone in the audience, have you been to Las Vegas before? Yes or no? Yes or no? Obviously, Kenton has been. Has anyone in the audience been to Las Vegas? Have you visited Las Vegas before? Yes or no? Have you visited Las Vegas before? Let us know if you visited Las Vegas before. Yes or no? But if you visited Vegas, you know what we're talking about. It's interesting out in here. It is interesting out in here. And but there's some lessons, folks. There's some lessons in being here. You know, when Larry and I got off the shuttle yesterday, the conversation is going to be around that because I truly believe that there are some things that Las Vegas does absolutely right. Some things that Las Vegas does absolutely right that I believe Bermuda could possibly adopt. But have you been to Las Vegas before? And this is, well, to be clear, this is my 13th or 14th time to Las Vegas, right? I've never been here for vacation. I actually came here 5 years one time for work. but I've never ever come for I don't think it's a place I would come for vacation, but it's definitely a place where while I'm here for business, I will try to make a vacation of it. But all right, have you been to Las Vegas? Now Pam says yes. Manuela Johnson said yes. Hedley and Swan says yes. Sherilyn Johnson says yes. Nicole Walker said yes, and going again in June. Stifling he but nothing proceeded. You're going to Vegas in the summer? Wow, brave lady. Chica Reyna says yes. Here's the thing. Maya said, "Oh, it's good for my hair, though." So I'm guessing because it's not humid, it's dry. It's good for the hair, I guess. I think that's what she meant. But she's like, "Oh, it's good for my hair." I said, "Oh boy." Anyway, Kenton Trot says, "Medium bodies are used to humidity." Yep. Well, Maya appreciates not being there. Suzanne Ingham says, "Awesome Wednesday, Jamal. I had trouble getting on." Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Suzanne. I'm glad you're with us now. So it says, yes, been to Vegas. All right. So here's the question. We were getting off the shuttle yesterday at the convention center. And I said to Larry Marshall Jr., I said, look, this is tourism. He says, what do you mean? I said, you see these people holding up the signs and where to walk and, you know, the people that are all around the convention center. And people talk about creating jobs for tourism. This is what they're talking about. The hustle and bustle, like everyone has some sort of income. I had heard a couple weeks ago that the Lauren had acquired the Elbow Beach. Well, you know, I you know how I operate on this show, folks. I tell you, I heard a rumor, which I know is true, but you know what I do. Or I discuss news that either our team has reported or our, you know, colleagues at the Road Gazette or Bermuda Broadcasting, right? Charles, so I live such a, I think I live his second life, but he's so similar to me. It's been to Vegas many times, but never for vacation. Right. Charles, I was trying to figure out if I've been here 13, 14, or 15 times, but just business conferences. Been seeing what Las Vegas does, and Charles can relate to this, and many of you who understand tourism and have been to Vegas and so on. The question of the morning is, what can Bermuda adopt from other jurisdictions to improve the well-being of its residents, right? What can Bermuda adopt? And we've had a similar question like this before, but I look at Las Vegas. I mean, it's a made-up city in the middle of a desert, right? And people are employed. Now, Bermuda's very interesting, and I'll give you this example, right? As to, let's use gaming for instance, right? If you ask the majority of Bermudians today whether they support gaming and whether we should have casinos, chances are they'll say, yeah. 15 years ago, the answer would have been no, like talking about the addictions and the like and so on, right? There's forever conversations in that there's red tape and we can't do anything because, you know, we have a culture of no. And while I don't think that Bermuda should do what everyone else in the world is doing, because, you know, you want to respect cultural norms and keep your traditions, there are some places where people do things that just make sense for Bermuda, right? So the question of the morning audience, what have you're well traveled. Every last person who answered this morning said they've been to Vegas. So what can Bermuda adopt from other jurisdictions, not just places like Las Vegas, to improve the well-being of Bermudians? Like, what do you think we can do? Because Bermuda's always relying on its natural beauty. Vegas isn't natural, it's a created like city. It's something that, oh, let's create this sinful city. Like, you know, it's gambling and alcohol and entertainment, right? Like, what can Bermuda adopt? I mean, we've had discussions about gaming for like 20 years. We've had discussions about legalization of cannabis for many years. We've had so many things that we see working in other places discussed or put on the table. I mean, someone was trying to do, was it ATV up in the tracks, and that was shut down, right? What have you seen in other jurisdictions that you believe Bermuda could adopt to improve its well-being. Like I was in a session yesterday, and a guy from Barbados says they were talking about doing radio contests and how to create things online for people to fill things out. He said, well, in Barbados, the people don't want to do that. They still want to fill things out and write them. And I'm like, well, that's total opposite of Bermuda. Bermudians are here. They don't want to. Bermudians believe that everything should be electronic. From your duty form coming back to Bermuda to TCD, right? We're opposite of that. But what he explained in the Bayesian people was what Bermudians were 10 to 15 years ago, right? I think we've changed. What Bermuda adopt, audience? What would you say we can take from other jurisdictions? What can we do that you've seen in other jurisdictions that could possibly work in Bermuda? Obviously, gaming is probably one. It would create jobs, right? It would create jobs. What is something else? I mean, we shut down so many things. Suzanne Ingham says, I don't think everything should be electronic. Not me. No, there are people there. I mean, I'm not aging anyone, but I think most older people. But here's the thing, Suzanne. I think when we speak about stuff like this, we act as if it has to be one or the other. I think what Canadians who want things to be electronic are saying, why can't we have that option too? So it's not to say to eliminate the other. Well, I mean, to your point, I mean, technology has traditionally eventually eliminated. I mean, bank tellers, you still have them. You just don't have them in bulk like you once did, because most people don't go to banks anymore. They use ATM or find other ways, online banking. All right, question again, audience. What can Bermuda adopt from other jurisdictions to help improve the well-being of its residents? Charles H. Duffus II says we can adopt a mindset that we are all a part of the tourism industry. We all should be doing whatever it takes to make our visitors' experiences memorable from the time they arrive until they leave. Okay. I mean, yeah, I'd agree with him. You know, one of when you speak to non-Bermudians, one thing they always complimented Bermuda on was the friendliness of the people. But are Bermudians still friendly? Like, and I'm genuinely asking, like, are we still considered friendly people? Like, do we still, use manners when we enter spaces? And I don't know, because I have young people hitting me up. They don't even say morning, afternoon, or good evening. Like, they just go right into the conversation. So I honestly don't know if we are still friendly. But I do agree with Charles. We can adopt a different mindset. I've always said we need a cultural mindset shift. We need a cultural mindset shift, period. Not just as it relates to tourism, but just life. Because we do have a mindset of, being content and complacent and wanting to leave things as they are. Tell you what, the longer you stay where you are, the longer, the more further away you get from those who are moving on, growing. But what else? What's something? We've been hanging with my buddy from Turks and Caicos. And Turks and Caicos is a less developed Bermuda, if you've ever been there, right? It's a less developed Bermuda. And I think about, well, what are some things we can possibly adopt that they do? And if you've read the Honorable Dr. Ewart Brown's book, where he spoke about, when he went to Turks and Caicos, and how he was like, man, how they get all of their people on board to want to be in tourism. I mean, when I was in Turks and Caicos, I was absolutely shocked that I think almost everyone in the hotel was from Turks and Caicos. That's what blew me away. I want to know what they do to get locals in the sector. Like, how are they able to employ locals in their tourism sector in particular? And it's really just as expensive as Bermuda. Like, what do we have to do? Kenton Trott says, I think every young person should spend at least a summer working in a tourism-related business. I did, and it opened my eyes. All right. I'm going to put it to you like this. I'm going to jump on back of what Kenton Trott and Charles H. Jeffers II said. And I'm going to say this. You see what they do in IB, where some companies let or transfer their young Bermudian employees. They go to Hong Kong and they go to New York and Atlanta. I'd like to see that throughout industries in Bermuda. Industries, not just tourism, not just IB. I want to see some education partnerships. I want to see tourism-related partnerships, media partnerships. I would love to see Bermuda develop partnerships. You know, I know a lot has been said about CARICOM and people not knowing what it's about. Maybe develop some relationships with some CARICOM nations where maybe a permanent secretary in government is seconded to another jurisdiction for 6 months. Maybe, I don't know if the police do it, things like that. Hotels, I know in some hotels have like Fairmont, people may be able to go to other Fairmonts. But maybe some of the smaller properties develop relationships with hotels in other jurisdictions. If you want to be a chef, maybe be a chef in Antigua and Barbuda. I think we need to leverage, you know, I've spoken, our team over here at this conference have met with so many different people in the region. And they're like, we need to do more together. I don't want to share publicly, but it was a brother from St. Lucia that they met who did a documentary that would be worth millions about their gold medalists, Julian Alfred. And Larry's sharing the stuff we do in Bermuda, the Bermuda Smash Invitational. And it's like, why don't we work together? The brothers from Barbados, right? And I'm not just saying the region. I'm using the region, honestly, because, you know, we need to be forging relationships more, especially with what's going on in the United States. But I feel like there's so much we can do because at the end of the day, yes, Bermuda was always looked at as the it island, right? We were looked at as, you know, we had it all. But other islands have caught us up in so many ways and other islands have passed us. And there's something that we can learn and take on from these spaces. I would love to develop a relationship where people on my team, I can say, hey, look, I've got a couple people on my team, we'll cover the cost. Can you have them shadow you for a month in your city, in your station, in your production room? That's how we improve people. When I think about what happens in other places, you know, I think Trevor Lindsay does an awesome job. I'm like, you all complain about this, brother, right? I'm like, this is par for the course in the US. Now, obviously, some things, you know, are going to be different and you're not going to want them in Bermuda. But I tell you what, if you weren't doing it, he'd be missed. So what can audience, let's brainstorm. What can Bermuda adopt from other jurisdictions to improve the well-being of its residents? I think there's a lot we can do. You know, someone said years ago that Bermuda set the standard in tourism and other jurisdictions came to Bermuda, learned what we did, and then started doing it better. Same happens in IB, right? Other jurisdictions competing for the same business, right? Let's go to the audience. Charles H. Jeffs II, he says, Jamal, that's a great idea. Getting outside of Bermuda broadens one's perspective on things, and it will benefit Bermuda. Yeah. I think one of the biggest the services we do as well is we think because we went to college outside of Bermuda that we have broadened our horizons. And I don't think it's no longer like that, because some people go to college in Bermuda and all they do is hang around Bermudians, right? They don't take advantage of working outside of Bermuda and building relationships beyond even their schools and class. And that's something I'm grateful for what I was able to do. But those are some things that we need to do. We truly need to broaden horizons. I believe that everyone, if you have the opportunity or you privileged to leave Bermuda for higher education, I truly do believe that you should get some experience and professional experience before returning to Bermuda. Volunteer, get some community experience. I brought a lot of ideas back to Bermuda. Let's see what Renee Simmons says. Renee Simmons says, we cannot use our cultural differences, cultural friendliness as different from the others anymore, because we have a multicultural of different people in our hospitality industry. Bermuda is no longer unique. What do you mean? Are you saying because the people who serve you in the tourism and hospitality are likely not Bermudian, that they're not as friendly? I just want to make sure I understand. Charles H. Jefferson II says, Renee, I disagree. We've always had many different cultures in Bermuda, but we encouraged/insisted that those coming from other cultures adopt the Bermudian way. Well, yeah, man, we had this lady. She came to work for Bermuda Tourism, and she would literally come in there, and you know how you all Bermudians, I'm not including myself in this because you all rude sometimes. Man, she would come into the office mornings in New York and say nothing. And people, Bermudians be like, good morning. Well, I say Bermudians, me too. But people were flabbergasted, like, huh? Like, you don't see people here? So, but I agree though, Charles, when you enter a space like you do as the Romans, like you don't come into a cultural space and just do as you do. You adopt the, behaviors and the cultural ways. Manuela Jordan says, maybe people discourage students from the hotel hospitality because it was considered seasonal. There needs to be education on the options that give them broader permanent views. I'm glad you said that. So Jamaica, I believe Jamaica has agreements with other jurisdictions as it relates to tourism. They have a visa program. So like if you go to Martha's Vineyard or some other places, you'll see some of the workers are from Jamaica and they're seasonal. That's something that I'm like, well, why hasn't Bermuda done that? So if the season stops in Bermuda, our slow season in Bermuda, well, supposedly like slow season, it's all year round sometimes. But anyway, suppose slow season, that's the high season in the Caribbean. So why not, instead of workers being laid off, work with other partners in the Caribbean to keep people employed year round, if they're able, because obviously some people have families, right? So I don't want to dismiss people in that respect. Interesting, folks. I just think there are so many things when talking about adopting what happens in other jurisdictions, we first have to learn what they're doing. To learn what they're doing, sometimes we have to be there. We have to go there. So I'm of the mindset that, hey, build those relationships. That's why, I want to understand CARICOM rather than dismissing CARICOM, what it looks like. All right, this yearly discussion brought to you by our friends at Titan Express and Secure Trucking. We've got to bring Taylor Dillon Daily Hour News Break. So we'll do that immediately after we give thanks to our partners.
The Daily Discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Visit TitanEXBDA.com, your leading tour and transport provider specializing in Black History tours throughout the island. And SecureBDA.com for all your property management, waste management, residential, and commercial trucking needs. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is our commitment to you.
Alrighty, folks, if you haven't already and you're tuned in on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, that's for Teo, Twitter X, or Instagram, make sure you give us a like, love, follow, share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Let folks know that you are part of these community conversations. Let's bring Teo Dill in to see what he's got for us today.
Hey man, morning. Good to see y'all. Thank you for using the word YouTube. Yes, just thank you for using the word YouTube as opposed to tube.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm glad you appreciated me making sure I said YouTube.
Yeah. That sounds much more age appropriate.
You sicko. Tay, have you been to Vegas before?
No, I've never been to Vegas. For a really good reason, I think. I hate gambling. I hate it.
Well, Teo, I'm not a gambler, even though I donated $30 to this casino this trip. I'm not a gambler. But Tay, I've never been for vacation here. Like, I've literally been to about 13, 14 conferences here. I never interested me. And when I first came, I went to the Beatles show, Cirque du Soleil, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And I find it the fakest city ever, but so many things they do that we can learn from. They do tourism right. But man, if you ever come, and your car like white compared to me, but what? I'm much darker than you, but
not that much.
But Tay, if you don't put lotion on, ain't nobody really gonna notice.
Bro,
your boy puts like yeah, you see my point, right? Your boy puts layers of lotion on, Day, and Vegas just dries you out, man. So you're gonna need like Vaseline to put all over your body, man. Yeah. But no, I it's so much more, as Mayola John says right here, though, man. It's just like you don't need to gamble because you're in Vegas. Like Vegas is so much more than gambling. I just think I don't know. Do you think people come here to gamble, or is it just because I think that was one of the arguments with Bermuda is like people are not coming to gamble. Like when they're pushing casinos, it's just something for people to do while they're here because what people say there's nothing to do in Bermuda. So
well, remember, Vegas was a city invented by the mob,
right?
In order to facilitate gambling on a mass scale. And I accept. I mean, obviously, there's more things to do in Vegas than gamble. However, the amount of casinos they got per square mile indicate that a whole lot of the intended activity in that space is around keeping you either in or very close to those casinos, so you can go in your pocket and hand them your money. But I think my real problem with Vegas is what you mentioned earlier, which is to say it just seems so inauthentic. Like when I want to go to places, I want to feel like I'm in a real place where real people have real lives, and Vegas just seems like a cartoon to me. Now I'm saying that as somebody who's never been there, right? So
no, but you're right.
Perspective, grain of salt. That's how I feel.
No, but you're absolutely right, and I think I want to go back to your point because Taylor just said something, folks. You know how in Bermuda when you would land, you would have like the steel band. Was it Gene Steve? Like the band at the airport. So Vegas, soon as you get off the airplane, the slot machines are right there. The slot machines are right there, like
for a reason.
Yeah, like it's they tell you who they are. You know? And Larry's here talking about he told me keep my dirty to my look. Tay, let me tell you, every year I come conference, whatever. I tell you, I bring out $50 that I'm either going home with or I'm comfortable losing.
Well done. That's the only way to do it.
I'm dead serious, folks. Like this is no disrespect. There are people with genuine addictions, but I guess I've been very headstrong to the point where I make myself believe that you don't need this. So this is for fun. No, I don't do that with any drugs or anything like that. But I was just like, no, with this, let me just take something, put on the table. Once that $30 is gone, it's done, bro.
Well done. That's healthy. Because if you don't have that kind of willpower, 2 years from now, your life is gonna look completely different. Like gambling addiction is real, man. Like real.
Yeah, and I mean, mind you, I would come to you for a loan to get my dirty back. That's not sure. Anyway, how you feeling, Zay? How you feeling?
Well,
what do you think we could adopt from another jurisdiction, though? Is there anything?
Well, no. There was one other thing that because I really appreciated the dialogue this morning, but there's one piece that I think we don't think about enough when it comes to these international partnerships, like experience sharing. opportunities. The problem is that having somebody like an exchange student go from the States, or not even the States, like inter-island, for example, but Bermuda's cost of living is in a whole other space.
Yeah.
Right. Which renders these exchanges that much more difficult to make work. Yeah. Right. Like the budget to take a Bermudian from here to Jamaica for 6 months, I mean, you know, like low 4 figures, like, I would think. Right. Yeah. But to have them come here for 6 months, you're probably looking at like 5. Yeah. Just to cover the room and board.
I see your, and at the end of the day, people are not in business to lose.
Yeah, it's got to be cost effective in order to work, and we have priced ourselves out of yet another market. The experience.
Real quick before we go on, I want to tell this, folks. We got a guest coming up, so you don't want to miss it. Really interesting information. But quickly, Rosalind Famous said, "I definitely suggest leaving the Strip, go exotic car race, and drive to the Kenyan hike in Red Rock Park." Real quickly, I I'm on a helicopter ride here, and none of the team is want to go on it. Like they're just scared. But we did go off the Strip last night, Tay.
Okay.
We went to we found this restaurant on well, I didn't find it. It was on Instagram called Big Caribbean Jerk, and man, it was one of the best Jamaican restaurants.
Oh, thank God!
I have eaten from outside of Jamaica. It was really, really good. I mean, even though the chef had an ankle bracelet on, we weren't judging him because we were saying, "Look, at least you're working, bro. At least you're working." Like, no, Larry, I'm gonna tell you, Larry picked it out. He said it. He's like, no, but at least he's doing good. He's doing good for his leg.
No, his PO is gonna be satisfied at the end of the week.
Yeah. We can vouch for him. We can say, no, he was here. You know,
he was here, right?
And the food was good. So but Larry said, yeah, food was on point. But he had an ankle bracelet on, and I just want to send the. I didn't get to shake your hand, but keep doing your damn best. As long as you're at work, you're doing good. All right.
And making food that good sounds like you're winning all around. That bracelet will be off before you know it.
Absolutely, Tay.
All right. Well, in other interesting news, I'm not sure if you're hip to this yet, but 9 of the Bermudian Beach residence units are occupied. Bermudiana Beach, I'm sorry. 13 are under agreement, and 8 local real estate agencies are actively showing the spaces to prospective occupiers. Deputy Premier Minister of Housing and Municipalities, Zane De Silva, shared as much during yesterday's official opening of the project, where he celebrated the completion of the development while acknowledging the price range falls outside the definition of affordable housing.
We now welcome 94 newly completed residential units, featuring 25 studio apartments, 25 one-bedroom units, 28 two-bedroom units, and 16 three-bedroom units. These thoughtfully designed homes form a multi-family community, ideal for young professionals, couples, and small families, and include beach access, fitness areas, a pool, and a space for future amenities such as a restaurant and a wellness center.
Interesting. Do you remember how many units there are to go?
It said 8, so 21, so 83.
Okay. I want to keep track of it just to see how long it takes. But also, off topic, Connor Birch looks retired, man.
Yeah, he sure do.
Hey, look,
you saw that stubble?
Yeah, that's because I didn't want to say it. Hey, you know what? You know, me and Colonel have our issues, but I'm gonna tell you, man, well deserved, bro. Honestly, I respectfully say, well deserved.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen him with a shirt that was that obviously unironed. It's wrinkled.
Man, he showed up retired. Man, he ain't care about nothing.
He looked comfortable, and that is what we aspire to for retirement. I think just to be comfortable. Now, Minister De Silva went on to underline that while this project helps to address the ongoing need for housing in Bermuda, more work needs to be done, if only to get the hundreds of people on the BHC waiting list a place to live.
Oh, the need is there. We have almost 300 people on the waiting list at Bermuda Housing Corporation, and my goal is to maybe I hope to be a little bit more aggressive than the former minister, who was aggressive. You will know that he produced 70 homes in 2 years. My goal is to produce as many homes as quickly as we can for the people of this country that need them.
Now, the reason I excerpted that for you is to tell you this. Now, so many folks, we don't have a really good read on the numbers, but it seems like it's at least maintaining level, if not increasing, are going to the UK in particular because finding affordable housing in Bermuda is so challenging that moving internationally makes sense. They're dealing with this kind of thing too. The UK has been struggling with the housing crisis issue for a couple generations now due to the collapse in social housing stock and population increases that have outpaced the number of new builds. These numbers, I think, are going to shock you.
Compared to the average European country, Britain today has a backlog of 4.3 million homes that are missing from the national housing market as they were never built, tracing the problem back to 1947.
They say it would take at least half a century to fill that gap, even if the government's target of building 300,000 new homes a year was met. Tackling the problem sooner would require 442,000 homes to be built every year over the next 25 years, or 654,000 homes to be built every year over the next decade in England alone.
Damn. Excuse my language.
Yeah. So, for folks that don't Google in advance of making these kind of moves, you should probably do it. Like, things are not all good across the ocean. Other places got their problems too. In this area in particular, the UK very, very, very much does.
Indeed.
Now, in more positive, inspiring news, and for me, kind of surprising and reassuring, the Loring Group has purchased the historic Elbow Beach Hotel, which has been closed since the early days of the COVID pandemic. I went to the Loring website, as you can see here, to confirm this, and they've already got an official Elbow Beach page up on the site that went up as soon as the announcement dropped. According to release from the Loring, the quote, strategic acquisition underscores their commitment to expanding the Loring's luxury hospitality and residential footprint and enhancing Bermuda's hospitality landscape. They're planning to redevelop Elbow top to bottom to expand the property, deliver a world-class mix of luxury real estate, more restaurants, more amenities, and the works.
You know what's interesting? I remember being told the worst decision Elbow Beach ever made was give the revenue to the restaurants, because that's pretty much how you make all your revenue. So MEF Group took up over almost all the restaurants, if I'm not mistaken, at one point. And for years when I worked and this is where I became a pessimist when it came to tourism. Things like Elbow Beach, right? I was very pessimistic because they would tell us over and over and over, oh, the hotel will reopen, the main hotel, because the main hotel has been closed for about 20 years, so it's right, probably.
Yeah.
So they would just renting out the ones down, below. And they would tell us, oh, they're opening back up. You start to learn over time, it ain't opening. Years later, they in 2018, they were saying that the Ritz would open up on Morgan's Point. And I remember, I'll call names. It's like the Glen Jones. They're both in tourism. This is going open. Why are they building the residences first? That's never a good sign, right? Because I'm thinking down Palmetto Bay down there in Flats, what happened, right? Because people don't remember this stuff. I'm just like, this don't look good. But everybody's trying to be optimistic. And Jamel's just that miserable, grumpy guy. But he proved to be right. And I'm just like, I don't know. So I'm hopeful. The folks at the Loring just seem like they mean business. They know what they're doing in this space. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think they can bring the change. So
yeah. That's the hope. Now, finally, I don't know if you knew this, or I know you knew this, that the Canada is experiencing or going through their general election with the Liberals versus the Conservatives. The Conservatives had it in the bag, and then Trump won, and Canada turned against Trump for good reason, and the Conservatives had been trying to tie themselves to Trump. So now the Liberals are looking like they're going to win again, right? Mm-hmm. Bermuda is playing a meaningful role in Canada's general election campaign. Because incumbent Liberal Premier Mark Carney is facing accusations of being a professional tax dodger over placing two funds here in Bermuda worth $25 billion while he ran Brookfield Capital a few years ago. Here's a summary of what's going on.
Liberals force Canadians to pay higher taxes. Mark Carney dodges the bill himself. He thinks millionaires like him shouldn't have to pay.
But Carney says the funds are based in Bermuda to avoid being taxed multiple times. Once when the fund earns money, and again once the money goes to those who invest in them, and claims they're not tax dodges.
The beneficiaries of those pension funds, teachers, retirees, municipal employees, they pay the taxes on their pension. That's the design.
Bermuda's over here minding its business, trying to find things to, help us out, and you all bringing us in. Man, keep
catching strays
out your mouth.
You know what I'm saying?
Keep out your mouth.
Yeah. But, I mean, this is the consequence of doing the kind of business that we do on a national level. So it's hard to get upset with them like that, but it doesn't feel nice, because now there'll be a bunch of people in Canada watching the news and thinking those thieving Bermudians keeping our tax money away from us should be shaming themselves. And I'm like, it's not like that. Like, we don't get it really,
And just yesterday, the people were talking about let's build a relationship with Canada and get Canadian tourists. We're having trouble and do work with Canada since the tariffs. And now this, man,
I know. I hope the CBC falls and bumps its head down on some steps. Hurting my feelings. Weather-wise, we got a couple air masses settling in our airspace over the next couple days, so we should get a bunch of rain and cloud through the rest of the week. Interestingly, air temp should go up as well, which will max out at about 75 degrees once we hit Friday. So I think it's official. Air conditioning season has arrived.
Yeah, I'd say yesterday, your boy had one of his pink blazers on.
Oh man,
kind of cool, right? But it went up to 86 in the desert, bro.
Yeah. That blazer came off.
Well, it had to, it came off, and I went down, and something had to happen. But let me give you a days of the year real quickly. What we got today? We got International Day of Pink. Hey, do you wear pink?
No, of course, I love pink.
Okay.
I think it's just a fly color, like straight up. And I was into pink before Cameron and Dipset back in like 2001.
That's what I tell people. I'm like, I used to get teased for wearing pink. I'm just like, no, it's just for me, purple and pink. I appreciated how it looked on my dark chocolatey skin. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
But anyway,
just like me.
What's that?
Just like me. I like wearing the purple and pink because of how it balances out my brown, dark-ish skin.
It brings out your eyes, Tay?
No. My mahogany undertones.
Oh, mahogany undertones.
Yeah. I look like good furniture.
Yeah. What a loser. I didn't say. Tay, we'll see you soon. Oh, look, real quickly.
Yeah.
We're not going to do a show for the rest of the week because Vegas been so folks. This the last show for the week because we traveling back. What's it called? Red Eye. We're gonna be a Red Eye. That's what Larry's on right now. He's on a Red Eye.
Oh, wow.
And do a show tomorrow. So we appreciate you all rocking with us. But man, this conference, Theo, man, like it's. I want to share something. I'm gonna share it over and over. So in 2007, Elroy, Scott, and Glenn at Thailand Communications invested in us, and they sent Theo, Miss Thang, Magic, who was DJing there, and myself to a radio conference. And someone said in the industry, "Oh, why do you guys, invest in contract work for you to go?" And I said, "Because it was done for us. It's what you put back into others. You're right." And this conference, man, every year, it's so helpful. It's so helpful. Yesterday, Teo, and we'll talk about it, but yesterday, I went to one of the sessions. It was about sweepstakes and how to do it. And one of my questions was, we have this PIPA law in Bermuda. How do we get around that with it and so on? And she, I went to this lady afterwards. I said, can I get a copy of your presentation? And do you know she emailed me her? She didn't charge me. She didn't say I have to go to her company and sign up for their thing or anything.
Oh, beautiful. Honestly, that's what I was expecting.
Yeah, you know what I'm doing with the presentation? Because nothing else I say today. Take this. I'm going to share the presentation with every media partner, Royal Gazette, Bermuda Broadcasting, and so on. I'm going to share it. Why? Because for me, media isn't about just a competition or competing. To me, it's a service to the community.
Yeah, and in Bermuda, you know, come on, like we're not fighting for rating share or anything like that.
It's no Nielsen rating. And Dr. Brown said it. Dr. Ewart Brown said it on this show. He said, "Look, Jamel, comes to politics, everyone's not going to vote, right? Meaning, in this context, everyone's not going to listen. Not everyone's listening to your station or reading your paper or this or that. So, if all of us can actually just do one thing and produce certain levels of quality as a service to the community, benefits. So I look forward to sharing it with our, industry partners and sharing it with my team. I'm grateful that they're not withholding the information and didn't charge. She didn't say, "Oh, you have to sign to our company," because some of them do that.
Yeah, a lot of them do that. So she was real cool.
Yeah, she was a real one. So yeah, Tavy will be in touch though. I'm sorry, bro. I'm taking time.
No, it's fine, man. It's good to see you. I'm glad everything's going well. Can't wait to get when you get back. Take care.
All right, brother. All right, so folks, if you've appreciated the conversation this morning, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the information with your family, your friends, your colleagues. We're going to take a quick break. We've got an exciting guest coming up, Eduardo Medeiros. This brother did a thing, man, and you all want to find out what that thing is when we come back. See you on the other side.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Hi there, welcome to Medical House. We're located at number 6 Bakery Lane. I can't wait to show you all of the great stuff that we carry. Come on inside, let's see. Long days, long shifts, you no longer have to endure comfortable underwear. Designed by nurses, we now offer premium undergarments by Swoop that are unique, fun, comfortable, and functional. The only underwear you'll ever want to wear. Who says high-quality functional products can't be stylish and comfortable at the same time?
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Attention home renovators and design lovers. Your dream space starts here. The brand new Kohler retail showroom at BAC Group is now open, bringing you up to 35% savings on all Kohler products at U.S. manufacturer suggested retail prices. That means no extra fees, no freight, no wharfage, no duty, no document processing fees. Just pure cutting-edge Kohler design at unbeatable value. From sleek kitchen and bathroom faucets, vanities, toilets, to statement sinks, walking tubs, and spa-worthy bathtubs, BAC brings innovation and luxury within reach. Visit the BAC showroom on Mill Creek Road today for style, quality, no surprises. Just color from BAC.
Discover Drop It, your go-to grocery delivery. Browse and select from a wide range of groceries, from fresh produce to daily essentials. Our friendly drivers deliver fresh groceries to your door fast, saving you time and hassle. With Drop It, you get fresh groceries delivered fast so you can focus on what really matters. Drop It, freshness at your doorstep, delivered to your door with Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
Dreaming of expanding your business? With BDC's Loan Guarantee Program, we support your ambitions. Get up to 75% guarantee on bank or credit union loans up to $300,000. Just your vision and our support. Apply today and unlock new business opportunities. BDC, Bermuda business starts here.
Join us as we celebrate 5 years and 1,000 plus episodes of community conversations on Bermuda's daily talk show. The Daily Hour Gala takes place on April 26th at LF Wade International Airport. For more information and advance tickets, please send an email to admin@bermudacommunications.com. We look forward to celebrating all that's great about our community with all of you.
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. Jamal Hartman here at the Daily Hour, brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lives, and People's Pharmacy. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Folks, just want to say happy belated birthday to my aunt, Janet Maynard, and we have a birthday coming up on the Daily Hour team later this week, and we'll sing happy birthday and have some, oh, she doesn't know cake, next Monday, all right? We've got a very special guest on today. Please have a warm TDH welcome to Eduardo Medeiros. He is coming on. We're going to be talking about one of a good part of Bermuda history. Oh, wow.
Hi.
They're going crazy for you, Eduardo. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, yeah.
Well, first of all, thank you for your patience. Before we get into the conversation, can you just share, do you like the color pink?
I do. It became one of my favorite colors after visiting Bermuda for the first time.
All right. Well, speaking of that, we appreciate it because Bermuda's known for pink, and
yes.
I, didn't mention the pink sand and pink shorts, and it's one of our cultural colors. But first, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Before we jump into the meat of the conversation, and audience, this is a very cool story, and I'm happy to have Eduardo on to really discuss and share why he's here. But tell the audience a bit about your background and what it is that you do.
So my name is Eduardo Pereira Medeiros. I was born and raised on the island of San Miguel here in the Azores, and this Bermuda history book came after other two books. I used to collaborate with the Azorean Immigrants Association, and I first wrote a book about the connection between the United States and the Azores. Then in 2023, I released a book about the Azores in Canada, and of course focusing on immigration. And then at the time, the Portuguese Council suggested that someone could write a book about Bermuda's history and the Portuguese contribution. And so
you're an author.
Yeah, I have a history graduation, but professionally I work mostly as a tour guide here in San Miguel.
Got it. Okay. And so you wrote, you mentioned the US and Canada and so on. Tell us about this book. Tell us about this book as it relates to Bermuda and what inspired you to write it.
So, well, I have a family connection in Bermuda. My father works in Bermuda, and well, I have an uncle that works in Bermuda as well. I visited Bermuda for the first time in 2021, and so this idea to write this book came out to celebrate the 175 years of Portuguese in Bermuda, and that's the title of the book, 175 years of Portuguese in Bermuda. So definitely, when I visited Bermuda for the first time, I really liked it. I really fell in love with the place, but there was not these plans to write a book at the time. But already I was very curious about the history of Bermuda, Portuguese part included. And then I started to do the research in July 22 and finished the writing around September, October. So it was definitely a pleasure to write this history and to do this research, to find so many things, and to have this history written with sources from both sides, I think was pretty nice.
Alrighty. And tell us, an audience, if you have any questions or comments for Eduardo about this book, 175 years of Portuguese history in Bermuda. But please send your questions and comments through. Can you share, because I went through some articles and I'll let you speak to what I read, but can you share some highlights or challenges from your research process, and particularly any interesting discoveries you made about early Portuguese immigrants in Bermuda?
So there were many things that I discovered that people only used to, as I say, used to whisper about and say, "Oh, I heard that back in the day it was like this and that." And of course, with the research I did, I discovered, for example, the measures that the Bermudian government made against the Portuguese immigrants, restrictions that no other immigrants had. For example, having the families in Bermuda. I found proofs of that, documents from the government, other challenges they faced. Besides that, also social discrimination, which is a topic that has been catching a lot of people's attention, curiosity here in the Azores. How the Azorians were not considered white socially and culturally in Bermuda, and also just the struggles, the amount of hours they work to get their families in Bermuda, and because they were restricted to certain categories of work, was much harder for them to achieve success, for example.
What would readers learn from this book, right? What would they learn about Portuguese history in Bermuda? Because something I found fascinating about what I learned that Portuguese immigrants from the Azores were actually brought to replace West Indian immigrants at one point. Is that kind of stuff in the book, or is it really just related to Portuguese immigrants and how they became, workers in Bermuda or laborers?
That's a curious question. So I definitely speak about many times about West Indian immigrants, but most of the times West Indians went to jobs that the Azorians did not, and vice versa. So Azorians until the 70s were agriculture, landscaping, while West Indians were for other work. But for example, yes, there was a time when they were complaining about the Jamaicans in hotel industry, things like that, and then the Azorians started to go into the hotel businesses, especially for pot washers and dishwashers in the hotels. So yes, I speak about other immigrants as well. And then of course you have other European immigrants, the Germans, the Canadians, the Americans, that for example didn't go as much, didn't face discrimination as the Portuguese did in Bermuda. And well, the first Portuguese to be introduced in Bermuda were not from the Azores, were from Madeira, but there were not many immigrants at the time. So 1849, it's when the first Portuguese were introduced in Bermuda. There had been other immigrants introduced in Bermuda before them, some Germans and some English, but the Portuguese were the first big importation of immigrants to Bermuda. And replacement of immigrants, what happened, for example, in the 1970s, there was some problem in getting Azorians to Bermuda. And so Bermuda turned all into Ecuador. And then after the Azorians started to go back to Bermuda, then the Ecuadorians left and the Azorians came in again.
Interesting. There was something that I learned from my reading, right? There was an Azorian named Manuel Amaral Mendoza. Who is this person? What role did they play in their history?
So Manuel de Amaral Mendoza was definitely one of the most important characters that has been in Bermuda, although he didn't spend the rest of his life there. But he was from the village of Furnace. Everybody that comes to visit San Miguel knows this village because of the hot springs, the fumaroles, the food cooked under the ground. So that was his place where he was born. He went to Bermuda in the 1930s and then left. On the way back, his ship sunk and he lost everything, years of work. But he didn't give up. He went back to Bermuda, worked a lot again. He was working at a hotel. I think it was El Morocco. I don't remember now 100%. But he went back to Bermuda, worked. And then coming back to the Azores, he invested a lot in movie theaters and the cinema industry. But in Bermuda, he was one of the presidents of the Vasco da Gama Club. And also he really worked to have Portuguese movies in Bermuda. That's something I discovered that people had never heard about. Portuguese movies in Bermuda displayed for the Portuguese community in the 1930s and 40s. And that was special because of him. So you can imagine, like in the 1930s, 40s, taking a steamship back to the United States to get the movies, those huge tapes back to Bermuda just to show the movies to the Portuguese community in Bermuda, for these people to have a contact with their language, with their culture, and of course, to establish a contact with their homeland. So he definitely was a big community leader, one of the many the Portuguese had in Bermuda.
Wow, he played an integral role. We've got a question from the audience. Charles Augustus is second. He's asking, where does Bermuda rank as far as the number of Azorians or of Azorian descent that are in Bermuda?
So usually people say it's around 25% of Bermudians have some Portuguese origins. And of course, when people say about those 25%, of course, they're talking not only people born in the Azores and living in Bermuda, or even children of people from the Azores, but of course, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and great-great-grandchildren. But according to the census, I think was of 2000, it was around 9%. That was the highest percentage I've seen of people with Portuguese origins. But I do believe in a 25% as more far origins, as I said.
All right. Eduardo, what do you hope people take away from reading this book?
So it might not be the most common way of seeing Bermuda, but I see Bermuda as a multicultural place. A place where had a contribution of the English, who were the first people to settle in Bermuda, the enslaved people and their descendants, West Indians, Native Americans, Germans, French, Swedish, a lot of Swedish in 1800s, for example, Portuguese, and how all of these people contributed to what Bermuda is now, what Bermuda is, and how all of these people were part in creating Bermuda and constructing Bermuda. And I think this book shows the struggles that the Portuguese went through, all they achieved, and how they shaped Bermuda and what it is nowadays. Just take a look at the amount of companies that are of Portuguese or Portuguese descent, construction, supermarkets, just even music. Eddie de Mello is definitely one of the most successful personalities in Bermuda.
Thank you, Eduardo. We got another question, and Karen Simmons, she's asking, where can the book be purchased, either digital and or hard copy?
A physical copy, there's at Music Box in Hamilton and also Bermuda Bookstore.
All right. And Eduardo, where can people go to learn more? Like, not just purchasing the book, but if they want to get in touch, maybe, have a virtual conversation with their students or their class, with some educators, or even bring you in to speak to their companies just to learn more and get more depth and go a bit deeper.
Well, if they just want to read the book is available at the Bermuda National Library. I offered some examples to them, but let me ask you a question about that question. You mean how people can contact me? Is that what you're asking?
Correct. How can people get in touch to learn more?
So if they see the book, they open the cover and there's an email over there. They can write an email to me and I'll answer as fast as I can.
All righty. Rosalind Famous is asking, what is the most surprising fact that you learned during your research?
Wow, that's a good question. Well, I would say that definitely the struggle that people faced, like going to Bermuda, and I would say that the personal histories, the lives. There's a chapter in the book where I just talk about the people's stories of life, the struggles they went, being separate for the families for so long, for so much time, and working for so many hours. And of course, sometimes we, Bermudians don't realize, but we immigrated to so many places, including Hawaii. Even just take a look at the ukulele. That's an invention that has a strong Portuguese influence by Medeiros. And definitely makes just reading the book, even if people don't have descendants in Bermuda, makes Azorians proud of being Azorians for what they achieved in Bermuda. That's what I feel like. But most surprising, definitely the struggles that the people went through in Bermuda. I would say that was definitely the most surprising thing.
Okay. Suzanne is asking again, just remind her of the name of the book.
175 years of Portuguese in Bermuda.
175 years of Portuguese in Bermuda. This, I love that you've taken the time. As you were doing your research, as you came to the end of the book, how did your perception of Bermuda change?
Well, Bermuda is seen as always as a paradise, right? Especially for tourists, and that's why sometimes I criticize Bermuda, especially more the Bermudian government. And for example, there's a part of the book where, especially in the 1960s, where we have the priests and vice consul Felipe Macedo. He was very supportive of the Portuguese, the rights, and against the abuses from the immigration, from the Bermudian government, and from the hotels. And one thing I say is that, well, for tourists, Bermuda was another world, but for these immigrants, Bermuda was being the Isle of the Devils, its nickname from the 15 and 1600s. So that definitely was funny to write. And of course, I think that's true because people definitely were not seeing Bermuda as a paradise in that time. But I feel happy that Bermuda changed, and nowadays it has nothing to do with what was in the past. Unfortunately, Bermuda for a long period of time was dominated by a white oligarchy that just did whatever they wanted to. And now it's much different, and I feel Bermuda, from seeing Bermuda's history. Of course, writing this book, I went through a lot of sources, and of course, I tried to read as much as I could from Bermuda's general history. And I feel Bermuda changed a lot, and for the better, I think.
This is, I'm interested. I'm looking forward to actually reading your book. I love learning about history and different stories. The truth is, we only know what we know, right? And to write a book is a research process. It's a process where you're going to learn things that you didn't know and the outcome. So I'm very interested in learning. I'm always fascinated that the white oligarchs in Bermuda did not see Azorians as white, like they put them in a category, as you mentioned earlier. Now today, the way the Azorian population in Bermuda has become the entrepreneurs, as you mentioned, they landscaping companies, cleaning companies, grocery stores, and the like. It seems like a fascinating read, and I'm looking forward to it. And I'm grateful to you, even before reading it, that you've written this book, and hopefully, Bermudians will pick it up, get a read, and we can come together and have another conversation about it sometime.
Yes, yes, that's a very interesting comment you made. But this black, white, and Portuguese, this division that existed and kind of still exists in Bermuda, at least culturally, was not only in Bermuda, as I said in the book, also in the West Indies, because many Madeirans emigrated to, Trinidad, Antigua, Guyana, and also Madeirans were not considered white over there. And so this happened all over the British Empire where we immigrated to. But still remains nowadays this kind of cultural separation, because and one of the things that made Portuguese also very different from the Anglo-Saxon Bermudians, that's who we're talking about, the ones that were classified as white. Religion made a huge difference. So most of Portuguese Catholic, that's why many of them turn into Protestantism to be more assimilated in Bermudian culture, especially in the white Anglo-Saxon community. And I've seen that, but not only, also for example, people that were working on certain farms, and the Catholic Church in Edwards was far away, so they just converted to Protestantism. And also for social reasons, people converted to Protestant. For example, the Evangelical Church, because it was the way to get connected with the other Portuguese that were evangelical.
Yeah.
No, people can find a lot of things.
I did learn that there were some Portuguese in Bermuda who actually even changed their last name legally, families who changed their last names legally to be seen more as white rather than Azorians. I know of a family who did that. Interesting. It's interesting history. It's interesting history.
That changing of names happened for many reasons, not only to assimilate and escape discrimination, but also just mistakes. Most of the Azorians, even until the 70s, there was a huge analphabetism here. People couldn't read or write their own language. So getting to Bermuda, they were like, "What's your name?" And they'll say, let's say, João Machado. And they didn't know how to write that. And then João Machado, and they just wrote John Marshall. That happened in churches, in the baptisms, all over in Bermuda. And that not only in Bermuda, but the United States as well. In the United States also, there was this anglicization of surnames, because people can read or write many times, and so the other people they didn't understand Portuguese as well, and they just wrote how they heard. But yes, some people also change their names and change religion as well to be more assimilated.
Interesting. We've got another question from the audience. Rosalind Famous, she's asking, were you able to interview people other than Portuguese during your research?
Yes, I was able to interview some Bermudians and ask their view about the Portuguese in Bermuda. And I was very open to them. I said, I'm going to make the questions, answer whatever you want. If you want me to cover your name and come up with a fictitious name, like a non-real name, I can do it. And yeah, I had the opportunity. I wish I had the opportunity to interview even more people. I interviewed a total of 50 people. And in Bermuda, here in the Azores. So, and definitely, if I'm going to print one more time and with even more information, I definitely want to interview more Bermudians to get this idea they have about the Portuguese in Bermuda.
Alrighty. Ingham says she's looking forward to reading the book. Well, I'm sure many will be. Eduardo, thank you for making time. Like I said, we'll probably have you on again sometime after some of us have read the book, just go over some things. It's definitely been a pleasure having you. Thank you, like I said again, for writing the book to give us insights and some stories. Because one of the things I always say about Bermuda, Bermuda history is not well captured. So I can imagine how hard it may have been to do some of the research. A lot of people look for things on Bermuda, and it's hard to find information. So things like this make it a bit easier. So looking forward to reading, learning it. Just remind people, you said Bermuda Bookstore and where else?
Sorry, can you repeat the last question?
Just remind people where they can get it at Bermuda Bookstore.
Oh, Bermuda Bookstore and Music Box.
And Music Box.
Both in Hamilton, yes.
All right. Well, Eduardo, thank you so much for making time for us, having this conversation and engaging our audience. And we'll be in touch with you soon. All right.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
You as well. Eduardo Pereira Medeiros, folks, if you appreciated that conversation, please give us a thumbs up, a like, a love, share it with your friends, your family, your colleagues. We appreciate that. We're going to take our final break. We'll be back. I want to see if you all get this when we come back. You don't want to miss this. We'll be right back.
April is National Child Abuse Prevention Month. Children depend on every single caring adult in our community to make sure they are safe from sexual harm. Keeping them safe not just in April, but every day. Whether you're a parent, a guardian, a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle, or a caregiver, we ask that you take just 3 hours out of your busy schedule to learn what you can do to make sure the precious children in your life are protected. They are worth it. Join the SCARS certified adults by simply visiting our website to sign up for a free SCARS training session. Learn about online and body safety, how to protect them, and how to respond if they are harmed. This information is vital to their well-being and their future. Because they are children, it is our responsibility, Bermuda, to protect them. Visit scarsbermuda.com and learn what you can do to help the child in your life stay safe.
Considering the increasing challenges faced by financial institutions, the need for insurance protection is a critical component of the risk management framework. At Friesenbrook, our priority is to safeguard your assets with the most optimal, cost-effective risk management cover to help protect your business, whether it be cyber, directors and officer liability, professional indemnity, or property insurance. Call us on 296-3600 to learn more about our full suite of competitive corporate insurance products. At Friesenbrook, we provide insurance you can count on.
BAC's new color showroom is now open. Throughout April, for every $50 spent, your name will be entered to win great raffle prizes. Come learn from BAC, where luxury meets affordability.
Looking for the best care for your pets? Nova's Ark Feed and Supply has everything you need, from top quality foods to toys and supplies. We've got it all. Join our frequent buyer program and earn rewards every time you shop. Plus, we've been awarded the Clever Customer Initiative program for helping you save more. And don't forget, we open an hour early on Saturdays so you can get a head start on your pet care. Visit us today or shop online for easy pickup or delivery. Your pets will thank you.
Join us as we celebrate 5 years and 1,000 plus episodes of community conversations on Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. The Daily Hour Gala takes place on April 26th at LF Wade International Airport. For more information and advance tickets, please send an email to admin@bermudacommunications.com. We look forward to celebrating all that's great about our community with all of you.
Alrighty, welcome back to the Big Show. Thanks again to Eduardo Pereira Medeiros for stopping by, talking about 175 years of Portuguese in Bermuda. Folks, if you're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter X, please give us a thumbs up, love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends. Thanks again to the BAC group of companies, People's Pharmacy, Medical Cylinders, for ensuring that we can do this with you on a regular basis. It is time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, it's music today. Here we go, audience. The lyrics, these lyrics belong to what song and artist? Quote, "Nothing should matter, not when love grows inside you. The choice is yours." End quote. Oh, at the buzzer. Cousin Nicole Walker says Miracle, Whitney Houston. Cousin Mark, Whitney Houston, and Stacey Ann Brown, Whitney Houston. I have nothing. No, it's Miracle. It's Miracle. It is Miracle. Right. You all know your music. You all know your music. I like that. I like that. That was a good one. That was a good one. I was wondering, you got it at the buzzer, like the buzzer. Like the refs were really trying to figure out, should we give it to you? So doing a little double back. But let's wrap it up, folks. That was a good conversation. I appreciate learning about that. I always find it interesting when people do that kind of research and bring the kind of information that people are often searching for. As I mentioned just now, it's so difficult to find a lot of history about Bermuda and so many different topics. So appreciate it. Regarding the earlier conversation, I want us to stop being so arrogant as a group, as a collective. I want us to feel open and feel free to learn from others. I want us to look at others and believe that they have something of value that can benefit each and every one of us. I really do. And I believe once we shift our mindset, the rewards will start to come. Now, I say all the time, most things that I do were not my idea. I just decided to execute on what people have given me. So, yeah, I hope we can approach and the improvement of Bermuda with an open mind and open heart and move forth. As it relates to the conversation with Eduardo Pereira Medeiros, again, I appreciate that he's taken the time to do the research and really give people an option to learn more about a part of Bermuda's history. So, folks, if you are able and you're interested, go out there and make the purchase. Here's inspiration. All right, quote, "The best preparation for tomorrow is doing your best today." And that's H. Jackson Brown Jr. Again, the best preparation for tomorrow is doing your best today. And wishing everyone their best day today. Folks, please don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lenders, and People's Pharmacy, for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. I'm Jamal Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are Israel. Peace.